Hi everybody, I'm Ray, your title professional with Stewart Title here in the Inland Empire.
And I'm Dusty, an escrow officer with Stigler Escrow in Rancho Cucamonga.
Now, title and escrow work closely together in real estate transactions, but not everybody knows exactly what we do.
So today we're going to be asking each other a few questions about our roles. I'm going to be asking Ray about title, and he'll be asking me about escrow.
All right, let's dig in. What exactly is an earnest money deposit?
An earnest money deposit is the buyer's way of showing the seller that they're serious about purchasing the property. The buyer puts a small deposit into escrow that once the transaction closes, it becomes it's used toward the buyer's down payment or their closing costs. If the buyer cancels within the contingency timeline due to contingencies, then that money generally goes back to them. If the buyer cancels due to their own fault, then the seller has the right to ask for that money.
All right, so it's a way for the buyer and seller to kind of build trust early on. Shows that the buyer's
Yes.
serious.
Yes.
All right, so the earnest money deposit is a way for the buyer and seller to kind of earn some trust between each other. It shows that the buyer's serious.
Yes.
Okay, so what is the most common delay that you're seeing in a closing right now?
The most common delay that I'm seeing now is with financing. So the financing of the buyer gets delayed due to the buyer maybe not providing all the documentation and complete documentation, or not providing it in a timely manner to the lender, so the lender can't process the underwriting of the loan.
Okay, that makes sense. Now I'm gonna go fishing a little bit here. What is another common delay that you're seeing?
Another common delay is delays in the escrow paperwork, such as the statement of information that's required. If the seller doesn't provide that until just before closing, there's a possibility that we can, when title runs the statement of information, that additional liens pop up that aren't necessarily against the property, but against the owner themselves.
That's exactly what I was looking for. The statement of information is so key to get to title and escrow early on. All right, I'm gonna flip it a little bit with a dangerous question. In your opinion, what makes a good real estate agent?
A good real estate agent is one that's organized, that provides information up front, that is very communicative if there are any changes to the contract. Also one that provides the contact information for solar, homeowners association, seller, buyer. I personally like to deal with the principals myself. If that information is provided all up front, then it creates a much smoother transaction.
So it sounds to me that it's important for the agents not to act as a gatekeeper between you and the principals, right?
Correct.
All right, cool. That's good to know. Now, in Southern California, in particular, escrow wears a lot of hats. You guys have a lot of responsibility. Can you briefly describe to us escrow's role in a real estate transaction?
Our role, we are the neutral third party, so we don't work on behalf of either side. We are neutral in the transaction. We make sure to prepare the documents, we hold the funds, and we make sure that the terms of the transaction are complied with before closing. We deal directly with the buyers, sellers, title, lenders. We act as kind of the air traffic controller of the transaction.
Air traffic controller is a great analogy for escrow. And it sounds like there are no easy closings nowadays. So what are some common challenges that you're seeing?
We're seeing a lot of probate transactions and a lot of complicated trusts. Each of those have their own legal and logistical hurdles to go through.
So it's definitely not boring, but what is your favorite thing about escrow?
My favorite thing about escrow is the problem solving. I like to have answers to questions. I've been in this business a really long time, so I've seen a lot, but there's always more to learn. And I like to be that resource for my clients, and I like to depend on my resources such as yourself to help me answer questions that I may not have the answer to.
I couldn't agree with you more. I love the puzzle solving aspect of our job too. All right, it's your turn to grill me.
Okay, first up, what exactly is title insurance?
Title insurance protects the homeowners and the lenders from any financial loss due to issues with the chain of title. This could be undisclosed heirs, it could be liens on the property, it could be a number of different things, right? It ensures the owners that they have 100% ownership in the property and they're free from any legal issues that might have affected any previous owners.
Got it. So how is title insurance different from other insurance policies?
Now, title insurance is different because it's protecting you from issues in the past, whereas most other insurance policies are protecting you from issues of the future, right? What I mean by that is if you imagine the chain of title to a property, right? So it goes back from the original owner to you now. If there's a break in that chain of title, an issue in the past, that's where title insurance would protect you as the homeowner.
Speaking of policies, if the lender already has title insurance, why is it important for the owner to have title insurance as well?
Okay, so this is why it's important for a homeowner to have title insurance even if the lender is insured. Now, when would that happen? Say somebody is gifted the property, right? And they didn't purchase title insurance at that point, and then they refinance later on. That lender is going to have a title insurance policy that protects them, but the owner of the property isn't protected. So if the owner has an issue that would have been covered by a title policy, they cannot file a claim with the title company because they aren't the insured party. The lender is in that point.
That makes sense. Does title insurance need to be renewed?
Title insurance does not need to be renewed. It's good for as long as you're in the property. Title insurance is paid through closing at the close of escrow, and as long as you're entitled to the property, that title policy is valid.
What are the most common title problems that you've seen?
So when we're talking about the most common title issues, I'm going to get repetitive, but it definitely starts with that statement of information, especially for the seller. Get us a statement of information early on. And why do I say that? Say the owner has a very common name, and there are a number of liens that could potentially be them. The only way that I can clear those liens and only show what affects the property is with that statement of information. If I don't get it until the last moment and I find a lien, that's one of those last minute issues that just popped up that could delay closing. One of the other things that we're seeing a lot is probate transactions, which aren't necessarily an issue as much as they are a hurdle for title and escrow. There's a certain amount of things that we both need to review before we can close. So if you have a probate transaction, I would say just notify us early on so that we can let you know what's needed.
Well, that was fun. Hopefully this gave you all a better idea of what escrow and title do and how we work together.
Yeah, this is great. I hope you guys find it informative, and if there's anything that we didn't touch and you have questions for title or escrow, shoot us a DM.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you at the closing table.